Don't start that this morning. No. You want to go play putt-putt this weekend, boy? Then you better not. Alright, y'all. You know the deal. Tagging my peeps in the morning so I'm not talking to myself. Per usual. Hope y'all are having a fab Friday. I'm about to be done tagging the people. I just like doing a bunch. Okay. So, talking to y'all this morning about overcoming sponsoring objections and how you can overcome them. And also talking to you guys about your task today. So your task today is, oh, so exciting, Liza. And on a Friday, you can do all the Wax Boss things today. Okay, so your task today is to go live sharing your story and or your like why you joined. So, number one, we're never going to ask you to do something that we are not willing to do. So I am going to be doing that as well. So don't think that we're asking you to do something that we're not going to do. Okay, so I know that going live and sharing your story is scary, but we don't ask you to do things that don't work. We ask you to do things that we know work. So, if you are scared to go live and share your story, that's completely normal. One way to help yourself overcome that is make some notes about what it is you exactly want to say so that you're not rambling. That's okay. You don't want to read from your notes, but it's okay to mark some things down. And I want you guys to know that your story is powerful, regardless of how small or how insignificant you may think that it is. It can and will change people's lives when you share it. But if you don't share it, people don't know. If I weren't sharing that I came from an abusive relationship and that I had less than $75 in my bank account when I joined, people wouldn't know that, right? And people join because of your story, not because of Chloe's story, not because of Katie's story, not because of anybody's story. And if you feel like your story isn't powerful, get out of your own head, because it is. Even if you feel like, oh, it's not as big as Chloe's or Chastity's or Katie's, or I haven't had that like big aha moment yet, guys. Guys, it doesn't matter. If your story or the reason why you joined is to get your nails done without your husband complaining, and now you can do that, that's a story. And that's success. And that's something that you should be sharing. It doesn't matter how small you think that it is, or how big you think that it is, or if you're worried that people are going to talk about you. Guys, let me tell you something. People are going to talk about you regardless. You might as well give them something to talk about. I mean, and I know that that's like not everybody's philosophy, but I mean, think about it. Like, you can't control whether or not people talk about you, right? You might as well give them something good to say. You might as well get them something like, oh, I cannot believe that she went live on Facebook and shared her story. Like, that's crazy. Because guess what? They sitting back and watching you, girl. And eventually, they're going to come back around. So, don't you dare say that your story's not successful or you don't have anything to bring to the table, because that ain't true. Everybody has something to bring to the table, and God placed you in this group and in this program for a reason. period. Okay? Next thing before I talk about objections, I'm listening to a book by Marie Forleo called Everything is Figure Outable, right? It's not a huge book on business. It's more so a huge book on like mindset and belief. And guys, stop saying that you can't sponsor. Stop saying that you can't book parties. Stop saying that you can't get anybody to join your team. Stop saying it. Because number one, you're speaking that into existence. And number two, when you're saying that you can't, you might as well change that to won't. Why? Because half the time when you're saying that you can't do something, it's because you're not putting in the work to do it. Not because you actually can't, but because you won't go put in the work. Because you won't go and have 15 sponsoring conversations. Because you won't go live on Facebook and share your story because you're scared. So stop saying you can't and go ahead and just change that to won't and see how that feels. Right? I won't share my story on Facebook. Not you can't. Every single person on here is watching a live. You have a phone. So if you don't do it, that's telling us that you won't do it. Not that you can't. Everybody's scared, period. Okay? Love you. Mean it. Don't be a canter today. Be a lifer today and realize that you can do hard things. Okay? That's number one. Now, anyway, excuse busters or... Oh yeah, Cindy, like can't is a word that we don't say at my house or even in my classroom. Like kids will literally like try to reframe their complete sentence if they say can't, because they know that I cannot deal with you saying that you can't do something, okay? Because you can, right? Even if if I were to say I can't run a marathon, I'm saying that I won't run a marathon because I'm not training to do it. I can do things that I put my mind to and put the work in to get it done. Okay, so change that. Okay, now that was a whole nother little soapbox thing because I was listening to it this morning and I was literally like doing my makeup, saying amen and preach to myself in the mirror, and my husband's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, me, honey, mind your business. Anyway, okay, so excuse busters and dealing with people that say no. So number one, you need to know that no doesn't mean no forever. That's why they're on your dream team list. That's why you are continuing to build a relationship with them. That is why we do the things that we do. Because if you join Cincy, chances are most of us didn't join the first time that someone asked us. Goodness. And so that's something that you need to realize, and learning how to deal with or how to respond to someone saying no is really important, because you don't want to just let them say no and be like, okay, bye, sorry for asking. No, you're not sorry for asking. You're blessing people. And if you're not asking people to join your team, you're being selfish, girl. Selfish. Why? Because this blessing changed lives, y'all. We're in the business of bringing everybody with us to the top. So this is what I want you to realize when someone says no or they have an excuse for why they can't join. Number one, remember that their excuses are valid, that their feelings are valid, and you need to make sure that you don't negate those or tell them or like make them feel like how they feel isn't right. Because we know that the market's not too saturated. We know that even though they're busy, they can find time to work, right? We know that because we're already in this business and we're already doing it. But somebody from the outside looking in, they always have objections. They always have self-doubt. They always wonder if they can be as successful. Morning, Emily. So you need to make sure that you let them feel value, okay? And be honest, empathize, and offer a solution. So this is a system that I've heard from another, she's in a different network marketing. But so when you're having a sponsoring conversation and someone says an excuse, so actually what I want you to do right now in the comments is tell me some things that you've heard for reasons why people don't want to join. And if you're on my team page, you may have already heard something like this because I did it pretty recently, but we're going to do this again. So in the comments, I want you to tell me some things that you hear about why people won't join. Okay. And what this is called, I call this, morning Lauren, I call this the feel, felt, found method. Okay, so the three F's of like excuses or like how to overcome their objections. Feel, felt, found. Good. These are great. Okay, so what you want to do when I say feel, felt, found, go, if someone will type that in the three F's, feel, felt, found, in the comments, that would be great. So somebody could come back to that. So feel, felt, found. So let me take one of those that I see. I don't have time. Okay. So that's one that I hear a lot. I don't have time. Number one, you want to validate their feelings. Okay. So you say, and don't lie, if you don't understand that or you don't like empathize with that, don't say that. So I completely understand how you feel. I am also really busy with 2 kids, teaching, my business, a husband, etc. I completely understand that. I've also felt the exact same way. So now I have identified with her feelings, saying that I understand how she feels. Okay? If you don't understand how she feels, don't empathize with it. I'll go to that in a second. So I completely understand how you feel. I've also felt the same way because I also have kids in sports or whatever it is. You identify with that. But what I found is that busy people know how to multitask and get things done. I have found success with working my business in 15 to 30 minutes a day by building in little blocks of time. On my way to work, I help train people. Before I go into work, I follow up with a few of my party customers. Etc. So feel, felt, found. Offer a solution to whatever excuse or thing that they said that's holding them back. Okay? So, but once again, you also want to make sure that you're not coming at them so hard that you're making them feel like their feelings aren't valid. You have to offer an actual solution and tell them how that can be overcome. Okay? So, but if you're not busy, because, or I'm not saying you're not busy, but like if you can't identify with that, for instance, so let's say you're a stay-at-home mom or a work-at-home mom with Cincy, but someone else is working a full-time job, right? So you can say, I completely understand how you feel. I can't really identify with that part, but I have felt that way with being at home and having my kids to entertain. And I have upline who have felt that way or use me or whoever as an example. But what I found is blah, blah, blah. And you tell them the same thing. So I could do the exact same thing if I'm trying to sponsor someone that's a stay-at-home mom. It's hard for me to identify with that. And I can use someone who is as an example. What I found is Stacy uses nap time and while she's watching her kids play or when she takes them out places that she meets people that way. Okay? So now another solution or another objection is what did y'all say? Too many people sell it. Okay? So you can say, I understand that you feel that way. The funny thing is, Facebook algorithms know that you like Cincy, whether they believe that or not, it's probably true. I understand that you feel that way. My Facebook feed is full of people that do Scentsy as well. So I've definitely felt that way. But what I found is just because someone posts on Facebook that they are selling Scentsy doesn't mean that they're working their business. I've also found that you would be so surprised at the people who will support you because you are important to them, not just someone else random on Facebook, right? So if you have someone that's like, okay, well, my friend sells it. Well, guess what, guys? Your friend ain't you. Your friend doesn't have your mama and your sister and your cousin and your coworkers, right? So make them realize that people are going to support them because of that. I have no friends to sell to. There are a lot of friends that sell. I don't know many people. Okay, so this with the I don't know many people, or having a lot of, sorry, my customer just waved at me. So I completely understand how you feel. When I first started Scentsy, I had a very small circle. Oh, I made the comments go away. I don't know how to make them come back. That's going to be annoying. I understand how you feel. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of people to sell to either. But what I found, or I also felt that way, but what I found is Scentsy gave me a reason to reach out to people and a reason to be more social and etc. So, I mean, you guys aren't dumb. You can come up with reasons with how someone felt that way, or why they feel that way, how they felt, and what you found. So be honest with them, though. Like I said, don't just make something up if you can't empathize with them. I'm not a salesperson. You can say, like, that's okay. I wasn't a salesperson when I started either. I felt that way too. What I found is I share the products that I love. Have you ever shared that you got a Starbucks drink? Or have you ever shared your favorite mascara? It's the exact same thing. We're just getting paid for it. Okay? So make sure, number one, though, that you are really valuing them. And if you're doing this feel, felt, found method and they're still not wanting to join, that's okay. The point of the 3 F's is not just to get them to join right away, but you want to continue that conversation. You want to continue that conversation instead of just them saying no and you leaving it on red or not really knowing what to say after they say no. Okay? And I mean, when they say no or when they offer their objection, think about this. You can write that note down next to their name on your dream team list. And you can be super intentional when you're sharing your story or when you're sharing about the joint opportunity to say something about, like, I know people look at me and they think that everyone sells Scentsy, but truth is, like, there's a statistic for there's only like one Scentsy consultant for every like 3,000 people in North Carolina. I can't remember where I got that statistic from, but I know it was real. You can come up with facts like that or find actual statistics or whatever and share that on Facebook, and they're going to end up seeing that, right? But you're being intentional with coming like with that objection. So I know a lot of my people say that they don't have time. So I can like specifically share how I work my business even though I'm super busy. Okay, so I am running late into work. I just wanted to share that with you so that you guys don't just like leave a conversation awkward, because I'm the queen of awkward. So I loved that that person told me that so that I can really follow it up with feel, felt, found and continue building that relationship. Have a good Friday, y'all. Go share those stories. We're watching to see who's going to show up and do that. Make sure you go back on that post and screenshot your live, share the link so we can go and support you and sponsor all the people on this Friday. Love y'all. Mean it.